In the second half of the 20th century, philosophers grew impatient with the reigning definitions of art. This was due primarily to the pressure put on these theories by the Avant-Garde, who refused to produce objects that fit standard definitions. In response, some turned to the new philosophy of language promoted by Ludwig Wittgenstein in his highly influential book, Philosophical Investigations, first published in 1953.
Do you think I have a theory? Do you think I am saying what this is and what that is? I describe. I give examples. You have to describe ways of living in order to be clear about the aesthetic principles.
From his chair at Cambridge University, Wittgenstein developed a revolutionary theory on the uses of language. He held that in order to understand a word, one must first consider its customary uses, because that word is nothing beyond those uses. For example, there is no such thing as the true essence of fruit, as Platonism would hold. Rather, what really exists is a series of entities such as apples, plums, oranges, which have some kind of family resemblance. This family resemblance accounts for their common name, the word fruit.
What I am arguing, then, is that the very expansive, adventurous character of art, its ever-present changes and novel creations, makes it logically impossible to ensure any set of defining properties.
In 1956, the philosopher Morris Weitz took Wittgenstein's notion of family resemblance and applied it to art, holding that there were no necessary and sufficient conditions that made something a work of art. The best one could do was identify a formal set of resemblances. Art forms are not static, so no theory on art is actually possible, and efforts to reach a definition of art should be abandoned. Instead of wondering about the nature and essence of art, it is more useful to analyze its roles and the kind of ideas it represents. Weitz's line of thought justifies, for example, artist Marcel Duchamp's taking a urinal out of its usual context, turning it upside down, and presenting it as art. If the concept of art derives from the linguistic games in which that word is used, art is whatever we may call art, no matter what that object may be. A similar conclusion was reached by the institutional theory of art, whose major proponent was George Dickey. He proposed that a work of art could be anything that the institution of the art world designated as such. As a result of the expanded aesthetic landscape, 20th century art was characterized by innovation and relentless challenges to convention. Dadaism, Cubism, Surrealism, pop art, and other movements stretched and mutated the form and matter of art.